The police car pulled up, lights flashing, but not for the reason they expected. The fake HOA officers who had just trashed his lawn were about to face a brutal surprise. Cameras rolled, neighbors watched, and their scam unraveled in real time. But what happened next? That's where it gets legendary. Let's start from the beginning. The rusted pickup truck rattled as another bag of garbage tumbled onto my lawn, splitting open on impact and spilling out fast food wrappers, crushed beer cans, and something that looked disturbingly like a used diaper. The sour stench of rot hit my nose, and my stomach twisted with rage. These guys weren't just dumping trash. They were marking territory, treating my property like their personal dumping ground. And they were too damn comfortable doing it. I took a step closer, fists clenched. The bulky one, Mustache, barely acknowledged me, casually wiping his hands on his pants like this was just another routine stop. His partner, Beady Eyes, leaned against the truck, smirking, watching me the way a schoolyard bully sizes up his next victim. "This isn't some HOA cleanup," I snapped. "You're trespassing. Get your crap off my property now." Beady Eyes snorted, shaking his head like I was some clueless idiot. "Buddy, you don't get it. You're already in violation." He kicked one of the garbage bags, sending a spray of old coffee grounds and crumpled receipts across my lawn. Mustache crossed his arms, looming over me with the smug confidence of a man who had never faced consequences. "Listen, you're lucky we're even warning you. Technically, we could fine you for this, but we're being reasonable, helping you clean up." "Clean up?" I barked out a laugh, incredulous. "You're dumping someone else's trash in my yard." Beady Eyes shrugged. "Yeah, and now it's yours." Something inside me snapped. I took another step forward, and for the first time their smugness flickered, just a little. They weren't expecting me to push back. Maybe they were used to people folding, too scared to fight, too tired to argue. But I wasn't about to let these low-rent con artists turn my home into their personal landfill. I yanked my phone from my pocket. "All right, then I guess the cops can sort this out." Mustache sighed, shaking his head in mock disappointment. "Go ahead, call 'em, but let me save you some time. This is a civil matter. The police won't do a damn thing." He was so sure. That confidence, that smugness, it wasn't just arrogance. It was experience. They had done this before. They knew the loopholes. They knew the system was slow, that people didn't want the hassle. They counted on fear. But what they didn't count on? Me. The police officer barely glanced at the mess before letting out a tired sigh, his expression screaming, "I don't get paid enough for this." He shifted his weight, arms crossed, as Mustache smoothly rattled off some garbage about community beautification and waste management regulations. Beady Eyes nodded along, playing the perfect supporting act. They weren't even trying to sound convincing. They didn't have to. "Sounds like a community dispute," the officer muttered, already disengaging. My jaw tightened. "A dispute? They're illegally dumping garbage on my property. This isn't some neighborly disagreement over a fence height." The cop raised a hand like he was stopping traffic. "Take it up with the HOA board." I froze. The words were so absurd, so blatantly ignorant that for half a second I thought he was joking. There is no HOA. He didn't care. He was already walking back to his cruiser, the conversation over before it had even begun. Mustache turned to Beady Eyes and smirked. Just a slight curl of the lip, just enough to boil my blood. The pickup truck rumbled as they tossed the last bag onto my lawn, then climbed in like it was just another day on the job. No rush, no fear. Just a slow, deliberate drive down the street while I stood there, fists clenched, heart hammering. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw something. But more than anything, I wanted to wipe that smug expression off their faces. Instead, I spent the next few hours doing their damn job for them. I hauled their filth, heavy bags reeking of rotting food,
soaked cardboard boxes that fell apart in my hands, to the curb, muttering curses under my breath. By the time I was done, sweat clung to my skin, my back ached, and my yard still looked like a disaster zone. And the worst part? They were going to do this again. Maybe not to me, but to someone else. Some elderly homeowner who didn't have the energy to fight back. Some single parent who didn't have time to deal with it. I was furious. At them, at the cop, at the entire broken system that let guys like this slip through the cracks. So I did what I should have done from the start. I dug. I searched the HOA online. No registered company, no legal documents. Just a cheap, slapped-together website dripping with legal jargon meant to sound intimidating. No contact numbers, just an anonymous email. And then I found something. A physical address. The so-called operations center of their fake HOA. Except it wasn't an office. It was a house. Mustache's house. I grinned. They thought they could play dirty? They had no idea who they were dealing with. The moment the sun came up, I went to work. No hesitation, no second-guessing. If those fake HOA clowns thought they could pull this scam and walk away untouched, they were about to learn just how wrong they were. I picked up my phone and made every call that mattered. The local news station? Hooked the second I mentioned fake HOA scams and illegal dumping. The city council? Furious that grifters were running unchecked in their district. The state attorney general's office? Oh, they definitely wanted to know about an unregistered HOA shaking down homeowners. Every call built momentum. What started as my problem became everyone's problem. Then, I turned to my neighbors. Turns out, I wasn't just some unlucky target. A few doors down, an elderly woman had been slapped with bogus fines for unauthorized yard decorations. She had paid them, terrified she'd get evicted from the home she'd lived in for 30 years. Another guy had coughed up hundreds for mandatory landscape maintenance that never happened because he'd been threatened with legal action. The anger was already there. People just needed a reason to stop being afraid. I gave them that reason. Word spread like wildfire. By noon, we had a small army ready to fight back. And while the news crews set up their cameras outside Mustache's house, getting ready to catch him live, I arranged a little gift for him. Every single bag of garbage they had dumped on my lawn. It was now stacked neatly across his own front yard. Old beer cans, rotting food, a goddamn broken couch. Every single piece of filth they had unloaded on me was right where it belonged. And then, the perfect timing. Just as Mustache stepped outside, probably to grab his morning paper, maybe to kickstart another day of scamming, he froze. Cameras, microphones, reporters firing off questions. And right on cue, the real cops arrived. Not some overworked patrol officer brushing me off this time. State investigators. Mustache's face drained of color. The smugness? Gone. The confidence? Evaporated. His partner? Oh, he tried to run, sprinting full speed down the driveway like a rat escaping a sinking ship. But karma had other plans. One wrong step, one bad decision, and he tripped, face first, into their own pile of garbage. A fitting end. For them. For every homeowner they screwed over. And for me? Justice. With Mustache and his crew facing fraud and trespassing charges, the community was finally free of their intimidation tactics. But the best part? The story went viral. People from other neighborhoods came forward, revealing that the same scam had been run across multiple communities. Thanks to the exposure, new laws were put in place to prevent fake HOAs from exploiting homeowners. And me? I didn't just get justice. I got my revenge, my peace of mind, and, most importantly, a clean lawn.
they thought they could dump their trash on me. Turns out, they were the ones who got cleaned up.